We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. And just as I really started to warm up to Marjorie Taylor Greene, aka MTG, and we started covering her more and more on the broadcast, not just about Epstein, but the anti-war stuff, and especially her confronting geoengineering with people like Thomas Massie. All right. And Massie is somebody who, when I learned about him, say 5 years or so ago, I really started to get behind him because he was the one politician in Congress and also in Kentucky with Rand Paul as somebody who I'd really been backing since the beginning, although here and there having my issues, but you're going to have that with anyone. I mean, Massie was the real deal. He's the true America First guy, like the true Constitution guy, the true balance the budget guy, the true anti-war guy. And more, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene aggressively moving in that direction and away from this idea of team baseball or back Donnie T on everything. And unfortunately, I think it's a damn shame that not only are we not going to have her in government as a voice for these people, come what? A little over a month from now, leaving in January, but that Trump continues to double and triple down on his response via her and Massie, and really is espousing massive jackassery to me. And look, if he thinks he can get away with it, that's fine. Like the guy is very, very combative. He's very, very transactional. And he's extremely pig-headed as to ever admitting he's wrong. And he is wrong to attack Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, the question is, why did she do this? And we're going to hit a lot of different reasons, but you're going to hear in her own words. We're going to play the entire 10-minute resignation speech. A lot of people are going to think, oh, well, there's more to it than that. In general, for me, I believe, first of all, kudos to Alex Jones. Again, say what you want about AJ. Again, not to say I agree with everything he puts out there. But just a couple or maybe 3 days before this, certainly I think it was in the week, he said she had just about enough. And she was ready just to get rid of, just done. I think that's it. Now, I think it's a combination of things. You know, I've already seen in like the chats and the banter online that, you know, she got the death threat to finally step down. I know the Israel runs everything crowd feels like, you know, the Mossad or Israel might have spooked her, et cetera, et cetera. Let me say this. I think that she was spooked as soon as she really started tackling the Epstein thing. And as soon as she got combat from her own side, especially Trump, who she had backed for a very long time. I think the nail in the coffin, and pun intended, was when Trump, got asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene a little over a week ago about the Epstein thing. And he said, I don't think she has any reason to be afraid, because she had put out that tweet essentially saying she was not suicidal. And then he said, I don't think anybody thinks of her at all. That's ridiculous. Listen, obviously she's in your head. And this isn't an attack Trump thing or a TDS thing. The bottom line is she was the real deal. She wanted change. And we're going to play that. It's very disappointing that there are those that supposedly are backing America first, et cetera, and not acknowledging that. And again, playing team baseball. So we're going to do all of it. We're going to show you Trump. We're going to show you his post before what he just said in his new little scarf thing. Like that's the funny thing. The media is talking about Trump's scarf. It's the end of fall, end of winter. And he's on the East Coast in D.C. How dare he be outside in a scarf? I mean, that just shows you how ridiculous the news cycle is. Before we get going, the reason I did not go live on this is, if you were watching my walk and talk yesterday, I learned that about 90+% of my videos were still demonetized on YouTube. Over 1,900 of the live streams. And I just figured out today that over 240 of the videos, so over 2,000 plus of my videos were completely demonetized. We also learned of the 70 plus videos that had been taken down. I didn't realize that they were still sort of available there. We'll get into that in another broadcast. I was thinking about taking those 70 plus videos that were banned and grabbing them and then just live streaming them for a day or two and seeing what happens. But instead, I think what we're going to do is we're individually take them. We're going to put the date on them. And I'm going to do an intro and an outro to all those videos. We're going to stream them together. And the very first one is going to be called Never Before Seen Epstein and Maxwell Photos Revealed. And this is literally, I think I aired it on December 8th, 2021. So almost 5 years ago. And so much of what we discuss in that video is still relevant today. Again, a lot of my Epstein videos got taken down. So before we get into Marjorie Taylor Greene, we show you the Trump stuff, etc., I need you to thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, I cannot do it without you. That's why the Buy Me a Coffee link is down below. $5, $10, $15. It absolutely means the world to me. Big donors, thank you so much. I know some people, they don't like doing that. They'd rather do PayPal. We just got a great donation via one of the listeners on PayPal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, not only, and we'll show you this in a second, do 90+% of the videos being demonetized, obviously affect the remonetization, but they affect whether or not people actually are able to see them. When a thing is age restricted, which some of them just, the 9/11 stuff, they love to age restrict the 9/11 stuff, by the way. That's a big issue. And then on top of that, you have the limited ads issue. When they're not limited, all of a sudden, they show up in people's feeds. I do want to thank Marigold Resources, marigoldresources.com. They buy and sell businesses. My man McGreevy is all over it. So if you're in that arena, maybe give them a look. And then rcreader.com, an independent media operation here in the Quad Cities that actually has print. I'd say go give me a follow on X. But as you see, we are totally stagnant on that platform. And by the way, totally stagnant on Rumble if you watch there. Literally have not gained not one subscriber on Rumble. I can only go back 90 days. It doesn't give me the whole 0 in the last 90 days. So, that's a service I pay for. And I pay for X just to be able to stream on it. It's one of those things where it is wild. And just to show everybody that I'm really putting in the work here, even up till, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, we just got notice that 4 videos will remain limited. 38 remonetized, 98 remonetized, 172 videos remonetized, another 172, 118, and 10. And when we do start broadcasting some of these videos that are totally and completely gone, we're going to start with the process so people can see how ridiculous it is just to put that in. Let's get into it. Trump on Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation. She went bad. She went rogue. She dared to question Donnie T. And here it is. Marjorie Trader Brown. I mean, come on. Because of plummeting poll numbers, no. And not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement, no. Where she would have no chance of winning, no. Has decided to call it quits. Her relationship with the worst Republican congressman in decades, Tom Massey of Kentucky, also known as Rand Paul Jr., because he votes against the Republican Party and really good legislation, did not help her. I mean, again, going after the best people in Congress and the Senate. Think about that. And by the way, she would have won no matter how hard he endorsed somebody and no matter how much they tried to smear her, because people were behind her. She just didn't want to sit there in a media frenzy that's going to make it about Trump versus her, where they're really going to dig at her and really try to push her into the mainstream media further to go after Trump. It's a damn shame. For some reason, primarily, that I refuse to return her never-ending barrage of phone calls, Marjorie went bad. Oh, God forbid she tried to contact you on the real issues of anti-war, geoengineering, Epstein, and beyond. Nevertheless, I will always appreciate Marjorie and thank her for her service to our country. President DJT. So there's the little backhanded swipe, and you'll get another little flavor of that right here when he gets asked about forgiving Marjorie Taylor Greene. No. He doesn't need to forgive her. Okay, he needs to apologize to her and the American people for going after somebody that literally had our back.
Are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene?
Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history, stupid person named Massey. And I said, go your own way. And once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived a primary. But I think she's a nice person. Okay,
But I think she's a nice person. Never would have survived. No, she would have won. Now, I don't like the innuendo there of survived, especially in the context that we've got going. But I'm really tempted just to lay off and play the entire Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation first, and then make some commentary on it, aside from just stopping it again and again and again. I think, it's so powerful, and it really does give insight probably into 90+% of why she's leaving. Because you got to remember, this woman was a businesswoman. She is extremely successful. Obviously, when you have that level of success, you're going to have those who love you and those who hate you anyway. But when it's on a national scale, a literal national scale, to the vast majority of human beings will never understand what this woman just went through. Even if you were to run a political race, even if you were to get smeared in your county, in your state, even somewhat on a national level, there are a handful of politicians that make it into that arena where they're constantly talked about no matter what, whether it be MTG or even someone like AOC or Chuck Schumer or Bernie Sanders, Nancy Pelosi. A handful. Okay? Some people don't think after all this that the juice is worth the squeeze. And that's a lot of what she's saying right here. But I think that, aside from the fact that she knows in some regard she keeps pushing, her life is in danger, she hasn't taken the special interest money that so many of these others do. And that's another reason to respect this woman. So she didn't make a bunch of scratch with her corrupt political associations, why not just go back into business? Why not just go back into the private sector? So here she is.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest, and the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies because I believe God creates life at conception and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas. Just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years, they actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa-holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I have been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of non-stop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
So I do get things wrong. I said January 2nd. She said January 5th right there. Let's break down a bunch of what she just said. First of all, I really do like that at the very end, she took a little backhanded swipe at the QAnon nonsense and the trust the plan bull snap and the 4D chess, which just isn't real. That's not real. Those are fairy tales. Okay? Those are fairy tales, everybody. If you think he's taken down the cabal, give me a break. Now, again, that doesn't mean that I don't think that the guy is misrepresented a lot of the time or better than a lot of the other things that could happen. I know there are those that say, oh, with Kamala Harris, at least you would have had bigger opposition. I think that the predator class, the powers that shouldn't be, when they are ultimately stonewalled in some arenas, they move quicker in others. They fast track others. And that's certainly happening with surveillance, technology, and quite frankly, the globalization of military power. Because Trump Daddy could not end the wars in the Middle East, has not ended the Russia-Ukraine conflict, has not gotten us out of NATO. Same time, we didn't attend COP30. I'm probably going to be doing a video on the Copenhagen conference, the climate change, the jaguar dragon spirit protector of the rainforest, and more, perhaps a little later this evening. But I also want to address the idea that MTG is going to run for president. I've seen that floating around. I don't believe it. I wish she would. Honestly, first of all, if she ran for the president of the United States after this Trump term, and I know there's some Trump hopium that somehow they're going to change the Constitution, he's going to run for a third term. First of all, I think that'd be disastrous in every way, shape, and form. I don't like it. But I certainly don't like the idea of J.D. Vance either, who's very smart and very well-spoken and obviously much more intimate with guys like Thiel. And the other thing about Vance is, say what you want about Trump, at least he had his own wealth. That does count for something when you are dealing with all these monsters. J.D. Vance does not have that type of wealth. And to me, it seems pretty apparent that him or someone like him is going to get the Republican nomination no matter what. Vivek Ramaswamy had a lot of great rhetoric and a lot of great things to say, in my opinion. But when push came to shove, especially on the Israeli issue and even on the transhuman issue, as I was able to ask him that question about transhumanism in accordance with transgenderism, I don't think he wins. I don't think he's a good fit. I think there's problems with him as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene, especially after saying what you just said, how is she getting the Republican nomination? I don't see that happening either. And it's a damn shame because, look, no matter what your thoughts on religion are, at least she believes in a higher power that isn't the state, that isn't the government. At least she's willing to consistently call out the military-industrial complex and their war machine. At least she's really willing to take action on the Epstein files and not call them a hoax and not say investigation over and sorry. Sorry, everybody. So to me, it's very disappointing, disheartening. And I often talk about whether one day I'm going to be forced to go into the political arena. First of all, I don't even have the Marjorie Taylor Greene money before the fact. Forget about that. Two, I don't know that I would even run as a Republican. I don't know if I'd run as a Democrat either, but maybe. I mean, neither of the party holds much weight with me. And as an independent, what are your chances? What are your real chances? And then once you get in there, even if you are able to make a little headway, get a little press, get your constituency and maybe some of the media reporting on you and getting behind you, even in the alternative, do you end up like Marjorie Taylor Greene with a disgusted, sour taste in your mouth and just leaving? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, folks, but what I do have is you guys, the Bermas Brigade. I need you to thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Again, folks, I cannot do it without you. I do want to thank everybody who has donated, but $5, $10, $15, it does mean the world to me. Thank you so much, John Smith and others, for supporting the broadcast. Again, without you guys, we would not be able to do it. And remember, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. We are going to do that series of videos banned on YouTube shortly. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.
You